Welcome back to Enter the Metaverse. Today on the podcast, I have special guest Amy Robeson, who is a master Akashic Records teacher, light language master, also a healer and spiritual mentor, and she is experienced in transformation and magic with the K. And I'm very excited to what we have to talk about today. And yeah, if there's anything else you want to add, go ahead, because I know you have a long list there.
Oh, thanks for having me on. I'm excited to chat with you.
Yeah, so I'm very intrigued by the Akashic records. So
hmm
I don't know too much about it. I know people can access it. Is it another dimension? Could actually let's start before we even get into the Akashic record. Let's get into a little background about your story, Amy. I would like to know a little bit about yourself, like how you got into like spirituality. Were you always spiritual? Did you start off spiritual? How to work?
I didn't grow up in an overly spiritual house. Like my mom always said, you can believe in God, you don't have to believe in church. And so growing up, I feel I was spiritual without that teaching. Like I loved angels, I would talk to angels, I collected angels.
Yeah.
I was very fascinated with the Jehovah Witnesses that would come to our house and talk to us about God. Like I really wanted to learn more about it. And so, as an adult, I made a decision to start investigating that. And I started doing this just based on just following the energy of what presented itself to me because I was very in tune to my intuition and didn't have that languaging back then. But how I got into all of this was from a very dark place in my life. I didn't want to be here anymore. And I just intuitively kept getting a hit to start hot yoga. And I started hot yoga. I found a Bikram studio that was like right down the road from my house. And that led me to wanting to learn how to meditate, which then led me to learning to want to teach meditation and to learn dream interpretation, which led me to the records and hands-on healing. And so for me, I just came from a normal family that didn't really have a big religious upbringing, but my grandma was a tarot card reader, an astrology reader, and so I was immersed in different ways into different spiritual practices that weren't religious, and I loved it. Like I just thought it was really fascinating.
Yeah. So you said your was it your grandma who was a tarot reader? And she was a what else did she do?
Uh, Astrology readings.
Astrology readings. Okay, so do you know, are you like versed in like human design or the gene keys at
I
all?
love human design. I would love to actually study human design. I know just enough to be dangerous. So, but I love human design. I find it really fascinating. I think that human design is um, a really interesting way to understand how you operate and how you receive information. And I think that there's so many different tools out there that people can use. And so, whatever tool you gravitate towards, study it, like study it and utilize it. And the cool thing about the Akashic Records is the Akashic Records couples well with any other spiritual modality and tools in your toolbox because everything that has ever existed and will exist exists inside of the Akashic Records. And it's a field of infinite possibilities. And so, if you like human design, it couples well with that or it couples well with meditation. So, it's really neat.
Yeah, so how was your first experience with the Akashic Records? And for those who don't know what the Akashic Records is, could you give them a little overview of what it is?
Yeah, so the Akashic Records is a field of infinite possibilities. Every word, deed, thought from the moment your soul is incepted is recorded in the Akashic field. Everyone and everything has an Akashic Records. You have an Akashic Records, your house has an Akashic Records, your dog has an Akashic Records, antiques, humans, animals, everything has an Akashic Records. And so we can open up the Akashic Records to receive love and guidance and support in any and all areas of our life. And so it's a tool for healing the past. It's a tool for understanding your present moment and growing from the present moment. And then it's also a tool that you can use to assist you in future possibilities as well.
Now, you're a master in Akashic Records and you're also a master in light language. How
Yeah.
did you discover light language and how did you interpret it? How do you know what you're saying? Is what I will like because I have a little bit of knowledge of light language, but I never know what people are saying.
Yeah, and it's okay because the thing about light language is every sound, symbol, or movement holds paragraphs of information, and there are no human words that can fully articulate what is being said or what is being moved or what is being put into one single symbol. And so, light language is a cosmic language of your soul, and your soul, your higher self, recognizes what it means. Your human brain does not need to know what it means. And what light language does is it untrances you, it takes you out of trance, because we go into trance in many different ways throughout our lifetime, like which keeps us in patterns or keeps us in a particular level of consciousness. And what
Mm,
light language does is it breaks you out of that frequency. It breaks you out of that consciousness so that you can be authentically yourself and tune into the frequencies and tune into the conscious level that you're meant to be going into. And so, how I discovered light language was playing in the records. The guardians of the records, also known as the masters, teachers, and loved ones, kept telling me, like, you're going to start speaking light language. You're going to be teaching light language. You're going to be doing this. I'm like, no, I'm not. It's very, very strange. It's very weird. I don't want to do it. And they're like, yes, you're going to do it. It's something that you're in alignment with. And eventually I gave in. I started practicing it. I started doing it. And then when I started practicing it, I realized, wait, I've done this before. I have been doing this since I was a kid. My older sister and I, we would talk to each other in light language and we knew exactly what each other was saying. And it was really, really neat. And so the cool thing about um the Akashic records is the guardians can see or can share with you when you're in alignment to do something or when you're not in alignment to do something, even if it's not on your radar. But if you're asking very specific questions on, like, what serves my highest good to do today, or tell me something that's unexpected, or what would you like to share with me today that I haven't asked yet. And so they'll share things with you that you may not have considered, you might even be reluctant to do. And one of the cool things is I'm so happy I did it, because I have had an overwhelming positive response to it. I always thought, like, I'm already weird, so why do I want to be even weirder? And it's just, it adds something that is very different than if I didn't infuse it into my work. And I absolutely love light language.
yeah. So when you're channeling light language and you're getting these, would you say downloads or like
Mhm.
messages from other entities or beings, or
Yeah.
is it entity like, or is it like more divine? I guess they would be divine being. I'm not sure.
Well, let's define entity, because when someone hears entity, they assume it's something dark or um, ill will, right? Where an entity can be anything. Your business is an entity. You are an entity, and so when I'm talking about downloads or intuitive guidance, is like when you receive an intuitive hit for something, or if I'm specifically talking in the records, I'm receiving spiritual guidance from the guardians, also known as the masters, teachers, and loved ones. Because there's guardians and masters, teachers, and loved ones in your records that are specifically there to support you into having, one, your best life ever, two, offering alternative perspectives. Because
Mm-hmm.
oftentimes as humans, we get very tunnel vision, where we're like, this is the way we see it only going, where if we widen our perspective and we give ourselves permission to have a 360-degree perspective, all sorts of different opportunities and different ways of thinking and different levels of understanding and compassion and love can come into our awareness as well, which also offers this beautiful softening or surrendering to what possibly could be. And also, like, another way of explaining it too is, um if you're having a disagreement with someone, going into the records can offer you an alternative perspective to that disagreement that you may not have ever considered. And it allows you to have a different level of empathy and understanding for others. They're not going to give you information about that person, but they're going to give you information that you may not have considered.
Okay, so it's giving you like guidance and direction to different like when you ask for the
Mhm.
guidance. Yeah, so um now I wanted to discuss like a little bit about manifestation and
Yeah.
how these tools, having like, access to the Akashic records or maybe in light language or something else like that you have come across that helps with manifesting either abundance, whatever it may be that you have seen that has worked in your life.
Yeah. So one of my biggest, we do a poll twice a year whenever we do our free series to talk about the Akashic records. And every year we always ask, like, what's one of the things that you would like to manifest? What's one of the things that you would like support with healing in order to get something? And one of the number one thing is always abundance. People want more abundance in their life. And so the cool thing about the records is you can ask all sorts of different questions. And the questions you ask and the more curious you get, the deeper you will go. And so one of the tools that I really like for manifesting is the Akashic records, because they're going to give you the steps to achieving your goals, dreams, and desires based on the questions you're asking. They'll also assist you in getting into alignment with it. And they're never going to give you step 10 before step 1. And so let's say you're wanting to bring in more abundance. And one of the ways that you find abundance is maybe you're trying to work on your health
Hmm.
and you're wanting more support with what types of things to eat and how to feel more better in your body, how to have a different perspective of your body. They can help you with that. A different thing that you might be wanting support with is, let's say, financial freedom. They're going to identify and show you what your money blocks are, what your money stories are, so that you can start attracting more money into your life. And I'll give you an example for that. Like, I started my business. I built my whole business using the Akashic records, from the types of programs to my offers to the videos to the content I write. Everything I've used the Akashic records for. And so when I started my business, I was like, ooh, like my money's starting to go down. My bank is starting to go down. What is this pattern? Like, what am I blind to this money pattern? And one of the things that they shared with me is like I created I created a money pattern as a teenager when my parents got a divorce. And everything that I had, I gave to my mom so we could leave and we could get divorced, do all that stuff. And so it created this: anytime you make a big transition, you have to go down to $0 into your account. As an adult, you do not want to go down to $0 into your account. As a teenager, that works perfectly fine. But as an adult, that doesn't work. And so one of the things that they assisted me with is working on that money pattern, one, identifying it, two, clearing it, and then breaking the pattern itself, because I have had many transitions, many big transitions in my life since then, and I haven't gone down to $0 in my account, even though I have several times before I identified that pattern. And it's really powerful when you can identify a problem like that, so you can manifest the things that you want.
Yeah, I've been trying to manifest more abundance myself, and I just kept having like this mental fog, and I
Yeah.
think that like I discovered something. I discovered this product that actually helps with mental clarity, and it's called
Mhm.
Magic Mind, and basically it's a mental performance shot, and it has 12 ingredients. They're mainly adaptogens and have you ever tried nootropics like lion's mane
Yes, I absolutely
or
love nootropics.
cordyceps or stuff like that? Yeah, like there it has lion's mane, cordyceps in it, and it helps with stress, lowering stress. Have you ever seen the movie Limitless or Lucy? Like either one of those?
Lucy, yes, yes,
Lucy
yes,
was
yes.
an amazing movie, right? Like
Yeah.
yeah, it's like kind of like if you take that that substance and you put it into a shot, it kind of reminds me of that. That's what it reminds me of. It's like it's a very mind opening. It helps with performance. Like it helps with like your cognitive thinking. And I think I manifested it because I was like, I need something that really helps me throughout the day and get me productive, and that's what basically helped me. So
I
and
think
it and
that's
it
fantastic.
yeah, and it tastes really good because it tastes like matcha. So it's got some good ingredients in that. But I just wanted to mention that. But
That's really cool. Like, I love so that's neat because you got an intuitive hit. Like,
mhm,
you got an intuitive hit that you needed something for your brain fog, and that's one of the other things that the records can do. Like, for years, the guardians would be like, more minerals, more minerals, more minerals. And I didn't understand what minerals meant at that moment in time. But then, like, I started getting all of these recommendations from my records on the different types of things that I can take to make my body feel better. Because one
mhm,
of the things that we all want is to be healthy, right? And to
mhm.
have our bodies feel really good. And so when you can get some guidance on what to take or how to take it or the support systems, that can be really helpful. So I love that you followed your intuitive guidance on that. That's great.
Yes. Now how can the Akashic records and any of your teachings help with shadow work, and how what is like help the most with your with like shadow work in your practice?
Yeah. So one of the things that we teach, so I teach everyone how to open their records for themselves and how to open the records for other people in our level one Akashic record course called Sacred Awakening. And then in our second level, which is called Sacred Awakening Healers Edition, we do really deep shadow work. And shadow work is really important because you have aspects of your being that are in the shadows that were created on a necessity to keep you safe in that particular moment in time. And then as we grow, as we evolve, these shadows are no longer necessary to keep their job going. Like the way that they're behaving, the way that they're acting, the way that they're making you behave and act is no longer necessary for your spiritual growth and development. It's actually a detriment. And so, working with these aspects of your being that are preventing you from growing to the next level is absolutely imperative if you want to go beyond where you're at this exact moment in time.
Like breaking out of
And
the
so,
cycles.
yeah, you break the cycles. And so, when you work with your shadows, you get a better understanding of their influences and their impact, because sometimes a shadow might be making you feel that you are not worthy to do something different than you've been wanting to do because of some experience you had when you were 4 or some experience you had when you were 10 or some experience you had when you were 20, whatever, whenever the shadow was created. And you can create shadows in your 30s and 40s and 50s and 60s and beyond. And so when you work with the shadows, you get to lovingly let these aspects of your being die. And we have many deaths and many rebirths throughout our lifetime. And what the records do is it can help you identify the shadow and how to work with the shadow and how to lovingly let it go.
Letting go. That's the hardest part, is letting go of all of
It's
the
like
habits
heavy.
and everything that is holding us back. And um now how does shadow work tie into these dark forces and entities? Like what do they all mean?
Well, just because you have a shadow doesn't mean it's bad or a dark force or a negative entity. A shadow is just an aspect of you that's in the dark. There's nothing wrong with you having an aspect of you in the dark. We all have dark and light. We all have yin and yang. We all have masculine and feminine. And so, an entity and a shadow are two totally different things. A dark force entity is a different thing than your shadow. So, dark force entity can be a lower vibrational frequency that can also influence you to behave and to think and to act in a particular way. Or they can also make you perceive things in a particular way. And so when people get entities, dark force entities attached to them, a lot of times everybody thinks Hollywood, like there's this evil thing that's attached to me. And oftentimes it's not evil, it's just a lower vibrational frequency that's feeding off your energy and it needs to be released. We can have lower vibrational frequencies that are just in our societal consciousness that influence our behavior. And so we can extract ourselves from those societal norms by not participating in them, and it's as easy as that. Or if you do have something that's going on that's influencing a particular behavior, or let's say there's a spirit that's haunting your house because it's lived there for 50 years and all of a sudden you live in, that spirit may not have any ill will towards you, but that's his house and it just needs to be cleared from the house and be invited to go to the light because it hasn't transitioned fully yet to the next realm of its existence. And so sometimes it needs some support and help in order to do that.
Yeah,
Is that
like
helpful?
it does help because like I try to practice smudging in this where I'm living right now, but I'm living with my parents, so and they don't like to me burning things. So I
Yeah,
don't really smudge. I mean there are
use
ways you could
sound.
smudge with sound or with sprays and stuff like that. I
Yeah,
practice that
use
sometimes.
sound. Use sound because some people are very sensitive to smell. And
Hmm.
so you don't have to only use smoke. Like some people are very, very sensitive. Also, some people have lung conditions, so it's not good for them. And so
Hmm.
I like bells, I like sound because you can clear it really quickly
Hmm.
and it works really powerfully. You can also use other things like crystals, you can use smoke, you can use a drum, you can use a bell, you can use singing bowls. There's different ways to clear and cleanse without just using, let's say, sage. And also, sage, you don't want to just use sage. Like, sage actually creates a void. And so, you want to, if you use sage, you want to make sure you put something else back into that energy because it can create a void where something else that's lower vibrational can come in. And so, you always want to make sure that when you're cleaning and clearing that you're setting an intention and infusing that space with love.
What about Palo Santo? Does it this the same thing
Oh, Palo
as?
Santo, it's powerful. Like Palo Santo, it doesn't do the same as sage. It creates like a really beautiful, um, soft energy. But no matter what, when you are clearing, you always want to infuse with love. Like it's a
Okay,
good practice to be in anyways.
that's true. I think love and light at the highest uh vibration. You want to like infuse it with that. And activating your DNA is something that you are experienced with. What does that mean, activating your DNA? Like how do you go about doing that?
Yeah, you have over 32 trillion cells in your body. Most of those cells have DNA strands. And so most of our life, we are activating our DNA. So I know like we live in a world where it's like instant gratification. Let me activate all of my DNA right away. Like I want it activated. That would be nice, except your body would probably explode like Lucy on that movie. So you want to activate it slowly. And when you activate it slowly through experiences, through practices, through journaling, through just everyday life stuff, you're going to activate your DNA. Also, you can then intentionally set out to activate your DNA as well. And this is where I'll do DNA activations twice a year for my students, and we'll activate 24 strands at a time, and then we restructure. And the activating of the DNA, where we're like purposely going in and activating DNA, every strand of DNA holds wisdom, it holds guidance, it holds patterns, it holds different knowledge. And we want to clear and we want to activate and we want dormant gifts to come to the surface. We want intuition to come to the surface that's just laying in that DNA that wants us to utilize it to its fullest capacity. And so when we activate it, it's really neat. I have students that sometimes will get job promotions or they'll discover something new about themselves or they'll start receiving downloads on intuitive things that they once had knowledge to. Um, last year, towards the end of the year, we did a DNA activation. And a couple months later, I started receiving more information about light language, and my knowledge of light language completely went to the next level just because of the DNA activation that I did. And so it's really profound and neat and interesting to see what happens, because everybody has a different experience. And I have a lot of repeat students that will come back, because we do it twice a year, like will come back and be like, oh, let me see what happens this time. Like, and
Hmm.
every single time is so different. And I do it for myself as well. And I absolutely love it. It's so different. It's so fun. It's neat. And then we do like other things with it, where we'll do womb healings and clearings, and rebalancing and connecting to the sacred feminine codes of Gaia, because it doesn't matter if you're male or female or however you identify, you're both
Hmm.
masculine and feminine, and we want to embody both energies, and we want to encapsulate ourselves with both energies, because we want to take action, and we want to surrender and be calm and peaceful, and we want to be intuitive and quiet, and allow things to come to us without also having to do so much action as well. And it's neat to witness.
Yeah, I'm very interested in that. Like you said, it's a course. So like, it does it have like levels to the course or?
No, so when I teach, I have all sorts of different things that I teach. And so like if I'm teaching the Akashic records, there's step by step, there's homework, there's things that we're going to do. Where in this course, it is an experience. You get to experience, we do the activations, and then we give everybody a mantra to do for a certain period of time. And then you just repeat the mantra every day. And that's the only homework you have, is just repeating the mantra. That's it. And
Oh,
it's
okay.
really neat to do it. We have a free master class that's going to be happening, I think, January. It's called DNA Ancient Wisdom, and I can get you the link as well. It's
Okay.
going to be happening where we'll talk about the DNA. It's going to happen January 14th. So right in the beginning of the year, we're going to do it. And so come to the 3-4 day masterclass series. That's absolutely free, and you'll learn more about the DNA and the process and the structuring and the seals that have been placed on our DNA, and how we remove those in the DNA activation as well. It's called DNA Ancient Wisdom, and it's free masterclass that we'll be doing in January of 25. And then if anybody's interested, then they can join us in the DNA Awakening Accelerator, where we do the 24 strands of DNA activation.
That's great. I was looking at your website, and I know you have a few free gifts that you said you call them sacred gifts that you
Yeah,
give out to people so they can download, or you also have a weekly announcement, a live
newsletter.
experience
Yeah.
thing that you do.
So yep. So we do I have a podcast called Awakening with Amy Robeson. And so we have a weekly show that releases, and then typically we do one live show a week as well. So that day rotates, and so we just put it on our website. And then the free sacred gifts, for anybody that's interested, they can go to theamyrobeson.com/free. So that's TheAmyRobeson.com/free. And we have 20 plus free healings. Most of those are infused with light language as well. All of them are done inside of the Akashic records. We have like a money healing, we have a grief healing. There's all sorts of different things in there. There's 20 plus free
Hmm.
things. And then once you sign up for that, you'll get notified anytime we have like a free event, because we do free masterclass series throughout the year. We do one for DNA, we do one for light language, we do two for the Akashic records. We always have something going on throughout
Now,
the year, which is neat.
when you first discovered your like Akashic records, like was it like were your eyes closed? Were your eyes open? Like how did you see things? Like how does it work? Because like I'm
So,
very curious about that.
what I sense and see is a ring of light in a field of the cosmos. Some people see a beautiful place in nature, where some people see a library with a bunch of books. It is one right and one wrong? Absolutely not. It's what your consciousness is meeting with the consciousness of the records and how you are able to receive information at that moment in time. And so oftentimes, like, I'll view the guardians as these big columns of light where some people actually see their faces. I'm very clear cognizant, which means I have very clear knowing. So oftentimes I don't see things, I just know it. Where some, and then I'm very clairaudient as well, so I'll hear things, and then I do have clairvoyance where I'll see things. So it just depends on the person and how they're receiving. The Akashic Records uses all of your clairs. So
Mm.
you'll see, you'll sense, you'll feel, you'll hear, you'll taste, you'll just know things, and it's really really neat to witness and experience. But um what I see versus what other people see is, it can be different, and that is the beautiful thing about the record. So it's like, you don't have to only see a library, because if I told all my students you have to see a library and some aren't seeing it, they're not going to be able to trust without going further. And some people are very clairvoyant, so they can
Mhm.
see a lot of things, where some people, that clair is shut down. Doesn't mean it's off, it's just not been tuned up yet. And
Mhm.
so they just know things, and it's perfect. Like, all the clairs work in the side of the Akashic Records.
Yeah, kind of brings me into like a little thing that I'm curious about with like these mentalists. Are they clair it's one of the clairs that where they know, like clairvoyant, where they know things? I think is the clairvoyance, the knowing, right?
No, so clairvoyance is seeing,
Okay, see.
clairsentient is feeling,
Mm,
so you feel things. Claircognizant is knowing,
cognizant.
and then clairaudient is hearing, and then you also have a clair for tasting and smelling, and then you
Mhm.
also have a clair for touching, so you can receive information through touch as well. And so I don't know what the definition of a mentalist is. Do you know what the definition of a mentalist is?
Well, it's kind of like an illusionist, but like
Okay.
they do suggestive. They suggest things and they kind of like put thoughts into people's heads. But I think there's more than that that's going on there. It's more of like kind of like a magician doesn't reveal his secrets type of thing. You know, like
Yeah, I'm sure they're using intuition. I'm sure they're using trade secrets and things like that, and how they do that. Um, I'm not sure, like, I haven't studied that field, but
yeah.
anything, anyone and anything that you're doing, you are allowed to use your intuition. Like, everybody has access to their intuition, and even writers, like, you'll hear like Elizabeth Gilbert, she says, I love my books and my books love me back. And that's because there's this energy in our relationship that's being developed. And she's using her intuition to tune into that entity, that book, that spirit of the book, to write the book itself.
Yeah. Who's that again? Sorry.
Elizabeth Gilbert, she wrote Eat, Pray, Love.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I haven't read that book, but I think I have it on my wish list. Yeah.
It's a fantastic book.
Is it really okay?
Yeah.
That one. I
Big
have a
Magic is also another really good book of
Big
hers.
Magic. Oh, okay. Yeah,
Mhm.
I think I've rented that one from the library one time. But yeah, I didn't finish it. I have a backlog of books. It's crazy.
Do you read them, or do you like
I
listening to
like
them?
audiobooks to be honest, but
The
I yeah.
Yeah, I'm an audient learner. I love listening to books. And you can rent books now on the Libby app, and
Mhm.
you can rent them audiobooks, which
I know
is
I do the same thing, yeah.
yeah.
I don't know if you're where you're located. I'm in Canada, but they have the Libby app here too, so I'm
Oh, that's cool. I'm in
yeah.
the US. I have hundreds and hundreds of books on Audible. Like, I love, like, the second Audible came out, I'm like, that's
Yeah,
like the
I know, yeah, the credit comes in, you're like, I need it. I need a book.
best.
Great. But yeah, so you you have a note here where you can channel a personal healing message for our audience. I love to invite you to do that if you're if you feel called to it.
Yeah, so what I usually like to do is I usually like to ask the host, which would be you, what is something that you're working on or struggling with or you're wanting assistance with? And then I could give you a personal message and then I can customize it to your audience as well.
Mm.
Or I could just do a healing. So, what would you like to do, my dear?
I have to think for a second because I have I don't know if it's more of a private thing, so I think maybe we can do more. I mean, like everybody's looking for abundance, and I'm having like a really struggle with finances right now. Maybe let's do something related to what I need to do to be more abundant.
Okay, so um, do you want me to channel a message for you, a personal message for that?
For me and the audience, or for
Yeah,
yeah.
so one of the things that and I love your vulnerability and your rawness on it just because I think this has been a really hard year for a lot of different people financially. And so that's the neat thing is it's important. The guardians are saying it's important for you to hit the reset button. Hit the reset button. Feel like you're starting fresh. Even if there's these things going on over here, hit the reset button and shift your relationship with money and finances to be the color green. And right now, when I tune in, your relationship, like your energetic relationship, is like almost like this brown yellow, meaning there's not very much vibrancy to it. And you're also trying to connect with money and finances through your power center versus your heart. And so if you start connecting to it from the heart versus your power center, like, and power center means you're trying to fix a problem and figure out how you can will your way into fixing the problem versus sitting in your heart and allowing your heart to lead you to the solution to the problem. Does that make sense?
It totally, especially when you said the power center versus the heart, that really makes a lot of sense of what I'm dealing with right now.
So perfect. So one of the things, one is on my sacred gifts, we do have a money healing in there. So definitely listen to that. And
Mm.
I've had people email me going, I just um e- manifesting extra money in my life. I've had this experience. So listen to it a bunch of times. Like it will help you change that color frequency. Because when we're connected with a color frequency, um, if it's not vibrating at the color it's meant to vibrate at, it's still going to continue to have that perpetual feeling or that perpetual um reoccurrence that's happening. And so infusing and seeing, and it's not the matter of like in US, our money is green. It has nothing to do with that. It's just the heart itself.
Yeah.
And so in Canada, I know like the dollars and everything are different colors and things like that. And so has nothing to do with that, but it's about envisioning your bank account, envisioning your
Hmm.
wallet, envisioning your bills all infused with beautiful green.
Kind of like the
And then
chakra system.
yes, and so it's softening into this I'm just going to love my money. I'm going to love my finances and I know I'm supported. I know that everything that has gone wrong in the past is all going to work out and it's working itself out now. And I'm asking for divine intervention when it comes to my relationship with money and my relationship with finances. And by getting really clear and really being your heart center, you're not going to try to will your way into something different. It's a very different approach. And I don't know if you can feel that difference as I'm talking about it. Um, and then the other thing is, and if anybody's listening to this and any part resonates with you, it's also for you since we're doing this in a group setting. Whatever doesn't, just leave it behind. And then they're saying it's really important for you to create an abundance and prosperity mantra, a chant. So like my money, my so I'm gonna say the difference between money and abundance. Prosperity and abundance is not all about money, it's just
Mm-hmm.
one little aspect. Prosperity is being rich in all areas of your life. Abundance is being rich and abundant in all areas of your life, not just finances and money itself. And so by having a money by having an abundance mantra uh, that also has an aspect of money in it. You can do that, but they're wanting you to really focus on abundance and prosperity. And so it could be, I feel rich and prosperous and abundant in all areas of my life, and money flows to me easily and effortlessly. It could be that. It could be, I am prosperous in all areas of my life and I feel rich and abundant. Whatever it is that you want to do, you can kind of switch it up, but they're saying abundant and prosperity and rich would be the three words to include into the mantra itself and
Okay.
repeat it daily. And anytime
Yeah.
you get down about your finances, say this mantra. And you're going to want to include abundance or abundant, however, whatever term you want to use, rich and prosperity. Those are the three words to use. And then say it and repeat it. So I had a money mantra a long time ago. This was before I started my business, and I would repeat this self to myself over and over. Anytime I would drive to work, I would repeat this over and over to myself. And I said it for many years. And the mantra would start off with one thing, and then it ended up with it being another, and that was money flows to me easily and effortlessly. I've created the perfect business for myself. And this particular mantra made me get out of my head about money and made me feel that I was in flow with it versus not. And then the business part, like one day just came up unexpectedly. And so when you're saying your mantra, just allow it to flow and see where it takes you. And it's going
Hmm.
to be really powerful.
I think that also saying it in a believable way to yourself and also having that feeling really is really more powerful too.
Yes, exactly. You are spot on. So you get it. Like you have to say it with um belief and momentum. Yeah.
Yeah, it really helps. Now, before we wrap this up, unless you have more that haven't covered yet, but I wanted to just go a little bit like how all this helps with trauma and triggers, like how all this is it the shadow work that helps with trauma and triggers? Or what?
Everything. Anything and everything. So when it comes to the Akashic records, you get to be curious about yourself. You get to be curious about why you might be behaving or why you might be thinking or why you might be doing something. And then as you get curious, you start to notice your behaviors and your patterns, and then you can investigate them more inside of the Akashic records. And if you're interested in light language, you can use the light language to get you out of trance. But the with the records, triggers are an invitation to heal. So anytime you're triggered, it's not about complaining about the trigger. It's actually being curious about what is wanting to be healed because you are triggered for some reason and there is something inside of you that wants to be healed because it is bothered. And so anytime I'm triggered, I'll ask myself what wants to be healed or why was I so triggered by that? And so I can go in and take a deep dive inside my Akashic records and start discovering things about myself so that I can heal them. And so anytime you are working in the records, you can start healing trauma patterns, you can start healing triggers, you can start healing different aspects of yourself that want to be healed. And so it could be a shadow, it could not be. Like you have all different aspects of your being, from your mind, your body, your soul, your emotional body, your inner child. Like there's core aspects of your being, and then there's other aspects of your being. And when they're out of balance, you are out of balance, and they influence you in a way to behave or to have a trauma response. And instead of getting mad at yourself for the trauma response or getting sad or whatever, it's like, ooh, why did I just behave like that? And it's about getting curious so that you can heal that trauma response. Because oftentimes we're either traumatized where we are so blinded by our behavior,
Hmm.
or we notice our behavior but we don't know what to do about it. And this is the thing that I love about doing this work is like you can start getting a better understanding, you start working on those behaviors, or you might go, I'm working on these behaviors and I need extra help with it. And there's nothing wrong with getting extra help with it, because sometimes that's the very thing that we need in order to full time to get us closer to our goal and our desire. But absolutely, it can help you with the trauma, it can help you with the triggers, it can help you with all of that stuff.
And when you're in the Akashic records, are you able to explore past lives or anything like
Yes,
that?
yes. So the records are for the past, the present, and the future. And some people teach it only for the past. I think if we only worked on past life regressions, that would be extremely boring and extremely hard to process, because you're only doing constant self-development work, and that can
Mm-hmm.
get really hard. Where I want to do self-development, but I also want to just have fun. Like, hey, what's
Mm-hmm.
the best thing for me to wear today that would make me feel really energized? Or hey, I'm thinking about building this, can you help me with it? And so it helps with all of those areas, and it definitely helps with past lives, because we're often frozen and stuck in the past, and so we need to reclaim those fragments of our souls, and so it can definitely help with that too.
That's amazing. I'm really interested. I haven't done past life regression, but I have a future guest coming on in a little while that's gonna do some, she does past life hypnosis, so
Oh,
really interesting she has to say. But yeah, so where can people before I do the socials, what else would you like have I not covered that you like to cover today?
I think we covered a lot, my friend.
Okay,
So
yeah, that's great.
the thing about the records is if this is calling you, they usually start talking to people when they're ready. And so follow the guidance. Like, we do free master classes twice a year. So we have our free master class coming up in February, but we always have free content going on, and there's tons of stuff. Like, the records speak to people when they're ready, and they're such a powerful life tool.
So where can the audience find you and your sacred gifts or anything, your socials, stuff like that?
Yeah, so you can go to theamyrobeson.com. That's TheAmyRobeson.com/free. And that will take you to, if we have any events going on, our free sacred gifts. You'll get signed up for our newsletter as well when you sign up for the sacred gifts. And then we have a podcast, Awakening with Amy Robeson. I have a YouTube channel, Amy Robeson. We've got all sorts of different stuff.
Okay, great. Yeah, all those will be in the link in the description below. Also, if anybody's interested in picking up Magic Mind, which is the drink, the productivity drink that I was speaking about earlier, you can find the link in the description as well. It's the code Metaverse20 to save yourself up to 40%, 48% off, or 20% off a one-time purchase. So, wanted to mention that as well. Anyway, stick around, Amy, and this is for the end of the podcast here. But thanks for everybody for listening. This was amazing. I was really fascinated by the Akashic records and light language as well. So I'm really impressed. So
Thanks
yeah,
for having me.
yeah. Well, bye everybody.